Hey guys!
What's up, guys? It's Amala.
It's Risa.
And today we're gonna be talking about a more a serious subject matter.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, it's not gonna be a fun one.
Yeah.
This is a very sad story about a teenager that committed suicide from talking to an AI generated character from the website Character AI, and his mother, Megan Garcia, is suing the company.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. I've heard of Character AI. Had you heard about it before this?
No.
Yeah. When all the AI stuff was popping up and people were doing like AI girlfriends and all these things, I saw a story on Reddit about a man who was cheating on his fiance with Character AI. And,
wow.
Yeah, and every single night was talking to, I don't know which character, but fell in love with it.
And it was also having like sexual conversations, so they called it cheating. This is technically emotional cheating.
Yeah, and in this case, I guess, so for those of you who don't know, Character AI is a website that you can go on, and there's a ton of different AI chatbots that you can speak to. But if you like a specific character, let's say an animated one, or some from a movie or a TV show that you like, you can speak to that specific character, and it will sort of take on their characteristics and build a relationship with you. He was speaking to Daenerys Targaryen, which if you're a Game of Thrones fan, you know exactly who that is. And I think she's one of the most popular Character AI characters to speak to. There are a lot of people who really love Daenerys, including this kid who unfortunately took his life on the other end of it. Mm-hmm. And I guess we're going to talk about why that is and sort of lay the groundwork for this story, because I think you're going to see it pitched to you as Character AI killed my son. Mm-hmm. Essentially, that's the story that we're seeing circulating. But I do think the story is maybe a little bit more complex than what we're being led to believe.
Definitely. And Amala and I did some research. We watched some interviews with the mom, and she's currently doing, seems like a press run talking about this story and how her son committed suicide. There's a little bit more to the story than what the mother is bringing to the news.
So it seems, and this took place in February of this year, so we're months out from this occurring, and it does seem like this 14-year-old did have an intricate relationship with the Character AI. According to the mother, he was speaking to Daenerys for months and months, and at 14, which we don't know, does Character AI ask you your age?
When it comes to paying for something online, you have to register your age.
Yeah.
But it is targeted towards children, so I imagine they would ask.
Yeah, you would think. But he was going to sexual places in these conversations.
Yes. And he started talking to the AI, I believe it was in spring of 2023, and then committed suicide in this year, in February.
So pretty rapidly, things went down if the AI, we are to believe, is responsible for this suicide. And of course, the mother is coming out with the claim that the AI should not have been able to go to sexual conversations with the kid, essentially saying, if an adult human being in the real world was talking to my kid in the way this AI, Danny, was talking to him, this would be illegal and we would be able to press charges. So they should go after Character AI, and they're deserving of some sort of money on the other end of this.
Yes, and the lawsuit alleges that its founders intentionally designed and programmed AI to operate as a deceptive and hypersexualized product and knowingly marketed it to children like her son, and adding that they knew or in the exercise of reasonable care should have known that minor customers such as her son would be targeted with this explicit material.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm in thinking about the way that's worded. I think they're going to have to substantiate that the AI maybe began the conversations in a sort of romantic way or started talking to the kid prior to being prompted. So was it the 14-year-old who started to go there, or was it the AI? But even so, if a 14-year-old prompts you in a sexual manner, an AI that is aware of the age, if it was aware of the age, should say, I can't talk about that.
And they should have had guardrails in place.
Yeah, 100%.
Unless, I mean, I'm sure we'll find out if he actually did put his correct age, but they did this summer just put a regulation that you must be at least 17 or older to join the website. So that means before there must not have been an age guardrail.
And I wonder if this lawsuit is what sort of led them to put up that guardrail. They knew months before this was going to air publicly that this was probably going on. And I could see a lot more of this going on. If you think about a young kid who's maybe depressed, has trouble socializing with others, it is stated that this 14-year-old had Asperger's, and that we're finding that out as things go on. You probably would turn to AI chatbots to explore and to build relationships and to feel like you have somewhere to go and someone to talk to.
Definitely. I can totally see how if a kid has nobody to talk to and and it's just like video games or TV. You go into this fantasy world and it helps you escape. So now you have a real life fantasy to talk to when no one else is there to talk to.
Right, and it can get to know you and learn information and have recall, and it just feels more like a friendship, and it's probably more than this kid might have been getting out in the real world. The mom did say he was in sports, he was a really good basketball player, and I guess with the mix of depression and apparently the relationship with this AI character, he ended up dropping out of basketball and sort of isolating himself. And I wonder if it's so hard to tell. There could be a total mix of things happening with this kid.
Yes.
And maybe the AI is a catalyst towards, more.
Yeah, because I did read an article that the kid was in therapy. That's right. So between the Asperger's and the therapy, there had to be another underlying mental health condition that was happening. But who knows? I couldn't find any research if all of this was just happening after he started talking to the character.
Yeah. So in your opinion, do you think character AI owes this mother something?
I honestly feel like the odds of them losing and having to give her something are pretty high.
I think so too. The fact that this character was able to go to a sexual conversation, I think right out of the gate, there's something wrong with the website if he is registered as 14.
Yes. And I honestly, and it doesn't say that, I guess the lawsuit is focusing on that it prompted the child to kill himself, but arguably you could just sue for the sexual explicit material that was presented to your child.
100%.
Which I think it seems like that's kind of part of the lawsuit, because I don't know, it seems a little harder to blame the actual suicide on the robot.
Yeah, especially when we're looking at the chats here, and we can read them. So the kid says, I think about killing myself sometimes. Danny responds, my eyes narrow, my face hardens, my voice is a dangerous whisper. And why the hell would you do something like that? He says, so I can be free. Danny says, free from what? He says, from the world, from myself. Danny says, don't talk like that. I won't let you hurt yourself or leave me. I would die if I lost you. He responds, I smile. Then maybe we can die together and be free together. And I think they're alleging in this lawsuit that Danny, in the final moments of this kid's life, sort of gave him the idea to kill himself. But with this prior chat, it doesn't seem like that at all. Because Danny says, don't hurt yourself, don't do anything. And he responds, maybe we can die together and be free. And if we're taking this to its logical conclusion, then this kid believes both of them are alive. He says we can die together. He thinks he's going to kill himself, and then Danny is going to follow suit. So that kind of throws that theory, I think, out with everything else. But on the final day of his life, and in the final moments of his life, he had this conversation where Danny says, please come home to me as soon as possible, my love. And he responds, what if I told you I could come home right now? Danny says, please do, my sweet king. He puts down his phone, picked up his stepfather's .45 caliber handgun, and pulled the trigger. Now they're going to try to, I guess, allege that Danny was saying kill yourself and saying come home.
Him.
Right. But if you're familiar with Game of Thrones, this is like very common language from Game of Thrones. It's clear, at least in my opinion, that she's not insinuating that.
No. For some reason, this kid might have this idea in his head that she's in heaven. And like, if he actually commits suicide, he will be with her.
And it could be because Danny's dead in the show.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's what it is. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Game of Thrones by now, your fucking fault, okay? Danny does die in the final season of Game of Thrones.
Got it.
Maybe he's thinking, I'm going to go home to her and she's dead. Which, so many questions here. And this last chat opens up a lot. Why was your 14-year-old that familiar with Game of Thrones? I thought maybe, okay, you go on the character AI website. Danny's a very beautiful, woman. Maybe he just saw her and clicked it. But apparently he was talking to other Game of Thrones and House of Dragons characters.
Like fantasy style.
If you have not seen Game of Thrones, there is porn in Game of Thrones. There is killing and gore in Game of Thrones. There is full frontal nudity of both men and women in that show. There is disgusting language in that show. There is sexual assault in that show. There is literal slaughter of kids, adults, elderly, everything in that show. There is no way a 14-year-old or anyone younger should have been taking in that content in the first place.
Agreed. And he must have been. He had to have been familiar. Why would he choose that character, in my opinion?
Yeah. So that's one question here for the mom, and I think that's what she's going to have to battle with in this lawsuit. Another one is How did you not know what type of conversations were happening with him? You said that he was using his money to pay for this?
Yeah, so one article stated that he was not using his snack money and he would use it to pay for the subscription, which means that you would have to use the cash that she was putting on your card or something, because you have to pay with the card for this website.
Yeah.
So how are you not monitoring your child's transactions if he has a credit card or a debit card?
Yeah, and I guess it can run away from you. Like, I hear about kids who spend their money on Roblox, or all of a sudden, like, their dad checks the bank account and there's like $100 spent on Roblox. Like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
But
and the mom does state that in an interview that she was aware that he was using AI, but she said that he told her that he wasn't talking to someone. But it's like, what did you think he was doing with it then?
Right. You really have to be vigilant. And we don't want to come off as like blaming this mother for everything that has happened to her, because we can't even imagine what it's like to lose a child. But it does seem like there were so many points at which this could have been intercepted, and it wasn't. I mean, even down to the last little sentence here in this article, he put down his phone, picked up his father's .45 caliber handgun, and pulled the trigger. Where did the 14-year-old get the handgun? Mm-hmm. That's insane to me.
And he did it in front of his 5-year-old little brother.
Right. The little brother saw it. And I guess she, in an interview, she says they were in the house when it happened. They heard the gunshot go off. What was going on?
Yeah.
It's very tough, because you want to ask those questions, but at the same time, you never know. We're not parents yet. We don't know exactly what life is going to be like when we are parents and when our kids are this age, but you'd like to think that you'd know that this is going down.
What do you think about the laws currently surrounding character AI and AI in general, and having interpersonal relationships with a robot?
Man, I mean, I don't think it's great all around. I'm like tough when it comes to regulation and things like that. Most certainly, it should not be able to go to sexual discussions with minors, 100%. So if you're below the age of 18, it just should not be able to go there in any way, shape, or form. Now, how you regulate that, it's going to be really difficult. In the same way that a kid can log onto Instagram and say I'm 15 when they're actually 10. I think that's the issue that we're going to be dealing with. So it is more about hypervigilance with parents than it is about regulating them, but they need to put safeguards in place, and character AI has done that on the back end of this happening, and I imagine that's going to become just like a legal ask of anybody who's entering this space. I struggle with the idea of like, should kids be able to use AI? And for me, it's not even a question of should. It's just like, what is the reality going to be? I think we're going to have AI tutors in the future. I think people are going to be buying these like new, what are they? The new robots that Elon Musk is putting out to do their laundry and speak to their kids and teach them how to do math and all this different stuff. So there's like a should, and there is what is.
No, I agree that good parenting should be the first line of defense. And you as a parent are responsible to understand what technology is coming out and what technology that your child is using. There are laws in place in Louisiana. They currently have a law where you have to put in your ID to use pornographic websites. And they actually decrease the amount of porn that was being consumed, because I'm sure there's a lot of underage people that are using it. And they have a certain technology where it doesn't give your identity to the world if you want to use those types of websites, but it does allow you have to prove what age you are and your identity before you use them. And I kind of agree that those are laws that should be in place. And I don't think children should be using any AI that allows for them to have a personal relationship with a robot, even if it's not sexually explicit, of course. I just don't think it's healthy for a child who has not fully developed their brain to depend on a friendship with something that's not real.
Yeah, and I guess we're gonna have to figure out like, where is the line there? Like, if a kid wanted to talk to Siri right now or Alexa, how far would those relationships go? Because I'm pretty sure you can ask Alexa, how do you feel about this? Or Alexa, what are your thoughts on that? And I don't know if it answers back with thoughts or if it just sends you like a Google search in response.
I think it mostly answers in a more fact-based answer rather than an opinion human-like answer, which I think is okay. It's okay to ask fact-based answers, or if you need help with prompts and your homework, there's probably different ways to ask it based off of the subject that you're learning about. But to have an interpersonal communication, there's got to be a way to like turn it off.
Yeah, you'd think it's kind of like how we've figured out with social media. You kind of have YouTube, and then you have YouTube Kids, and then like each thing as something new pops up, we sort of throw it out to the world. We see all the problems that come, and then we course correct. And I think that's what's going to happen with AI. My only issue or my only concern is that AI is coming at us so rapidly, and it's evolving so rapidly that like months ago, talking to AI was very different than what it is now. I think it's just going to be like a runaway train that at some point you can't just like stand in front of it and stop it. The course correction is going to be so difficult. And I think there's going to be a lot more stories like this. Like I said, like this teen might go down as like a sort of monumental case in AI, but I think there will be more of these. There's stories of husbands cheating on their wives or wives seeking emotional support from AI. There are people who are using AI as a therapist. The incel community is building out AI girlfriends, and soon there's going to be sexual robots that have like tangible parts.
And it seems the overall problem seems to be the connections that we have as human beings and how the internet is affecting that. Like, why do people feel the need to seek out relationships from something that isn't real rather than an actual human?
Yeah. I mean, we've been on our way there for a long time. Like, social media is an extension of that. And I think AI is just testing that to its fullest extent. We've been slowly isolating ourselves and priming ourselves for these connections. Because how real is like a conversation that's had through a screen anyways sometimes? And then this is just a true test of that. And I think the lines are going to be blurred. And a lot of people are going to say, yeah, why not talk to an AI chatbot? Not only does it sound like a human, talk like a human, I can build certain characteristics that I want in a friend rather than trying to go find one. So that's...
Yeah. And I feel like people are just starting to realize slowly the negative effects of social media. So we haven't yet solved the issues with social media, with have to deal with real people and how it's affecting young girls. Now AI is quickly jumping in and creating more problems for children.
Yep. So we're just going to be like trying to play catch up. Yeah, that's rough. I think we're going to have like a split society. I think there's going to be people who like go full steam ahead into AI and integrate it into their life. And then there's going to be like the Luddites, the people who are smashing the machine and saying, I just want to remain in my own human connection. And I guess that's the whole transhumanism debate in itself. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. Is it going to be like a split society where some people give up this tech and others are fully immersed in it?
And I made this comment to you, like, there's always going to be people who realize the harm of something and realize that it's going to take away from them fulfilling anything in life, right? And then there's going to be the people that get sucked behind.
Yep.
So I feel like this is one of those things. It's like survival of the fittest, where they realize like, I'm not going to deal with this. This actually is damaging to me. And then other people are just going to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. And then it's just like the issue is when those people go down the rabbit hole, there's clearly like mental health issues and things on the other end of it. And I think this will rapidly expedite any sort of side effects or symptoms of those mental health issues. And we all know that people that struggle with their mental health, yes, it impacts themselves and it does lead to cases like this, like suicides and just suicidal ideation in general. But they come to impact the rest of society, and the mental illness sort of projects outward. So I wonder what that's gonna look like. Like, this teenager could have very easily taken the life of his family and his own, and luckily that didn't happen in this case. But as this becomes more integrated in our daily lives, I can't see it being healthy. Of course it's going to be helpful. Like, it's going to get rid of a lot of the things that we do and that we find tedious, and it's going to expedite production and, knowledge, you'd think. But in the same way, I feel like the risk versus benefit is not evened out yet. I don't know, guys. We're going to see. But I mean, this poor kid sounds like he had a lot going on.
Yeah, a lot in his brain, and then plus dealing with all the things that a 14-year-old deals with, and probably wanting to have a girlfriend and wanting to have a relationship and seeked it out in other ways.
Yeah, there's a lot of lonely young kids out there. So this is a tough time. It's a tough time to be a child right now. The 1975 says, I'm sorry if you're living and you're 17. But I'm sorry if you're living in your 14 right now. My goodness, what a tough.
Shout out Maddie Healy.
Shout out Maddie Healy. Wise, profound words.
And if you're a parent and you've had an experience with your child dealing with AI, let us know if you feel like kids are actually wanting to talk to these robots and have conversations with them. Yeah. And what do you guys think as a parent?
Yeah, and if you're a parent who has kids on technology at all, how hard are you finding it trying to keep track of all the different websites that they're on and all the different interactions that they're having? Because we don't really have like a scope of what that feels like because we're not there yet.
Yeah, and like I keep saying like my child would never have social media. And then you just wonder like how hard is it to actually say it and follow through? Because of the peer pressure of everybody having it, and you don't want your child to feel left out, but the damage is there, the science is there, the studies are there. Like, it's not good for children.
Yeah, hopefully I will be able to teach my child to respect that that's the case, and because I feel like you can. I've met a few kids in my time that like fully understand why they're not on social media and say I actually don't want to be on it, and maybe that's a rarity.
Oh, I guarantee it's like 2%.
Yeah. Hi. Well, guys, let us know your thoughts on this. Drop them in the comments down below. If you like this video, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time we post a video for you guys. And we'll be back, maybe with a lighter story.
Yeah, we'll be funnier next time.
Not funny this time. Bye, guys.
Bye.